As a child, I was carefree and very independent. My family consisted of my mother, father, and older brother Chris. I was a daddy's girl. My dad was my superhero, infallible and indestructible, and I was his loyal sidekick. We used to always embark on new adventures, from riding our bikes to the grocery store to planting our own spice garden. However, there was a side to my father I didn't know, and in many ways I am thankful he worked hard enough to maintain his superhero image while enduring his own personal struggles. Though I had not known as a child, I later in life found out my father struggled with drug and alcohol addiction and a life of crime. My dad was sick when I was a little girl, and I was completely oblivious and blinded by my love for him. The summer I turned 11 years old is a summer I will never forget. My father and I were closer than ever. I remember walking to our local pool nearly every day and even completing a summer project together, building a loft bed in my room. What I had not known was the year prior to that summer, he had been in rehab and overcome both alcoholism and drug addiction. He planned on turning a new leaf and strengthening our bond. Soon thereafter, he was diagnosed with cancer. The day before my dad was going to begin his chemo treatment, we treated ourselves to a breakfast for champions, a full tray of McDonald's pancakes. It had become a pancake off, and my dad blew me out of the water with a whopping 7 pancakes compared to my 3. Later that morning, he complained about stomach pain, and my response was of course giggles and poking fun at him for eating too many pancakes. But the pain worsened, and our shared giggles turned into worry. My father called my grandma, and he was admitted in the hospital to later find out he was experiencing kidney failure. That morning was the last time I ever saw my father out of the hospital. After an emotional roller coaster of his health getting better and then worsening, we finally were forced to make the decision to admit him into hospice. On Tuesday, October 13, 2009, my superhero lost his battle. My parents always lived paycheck to paycheck, and some weeks having enough for 3 square meals a day was hard, so life insurance seemed like a cruel joke. My father left my mother, a single mom of 2 kids with barely enough money to survive. It was only with financial help from my grandparents that we were able to keep our house after my mother was laid off from Dominic's grocery chain as they went out of business. If my father had a life insurance policy, things would be very different. My mother would not have been forced to pick up extra hours, search frantically for a new job after being laid off, and continually look for new and better paying jobs. My brother and I would not be forced to question if furthering our education was possible and if our dreams were chained down by dollar signs. My mother still has not paid off the bills on my father's funeral, which was very modest for a superhero. To support myself and try to help with the fast approaching college debt, I have picked up a part-time job during the school year and a full-time job in the summer. However, without financial aid, I will be forced to take out crippling loans and debt, especially with hopes for postgraduate study. I always dreamed of becoming a lawyer, and I will work unendingly hard to make the grades, earn financial aid, and get myself to my dreams. I know my dream is something my father would be extremely proud of because he always believed in me and my future. He was always my superhero, and now I want the chance to be his.